Tonight, the show that wishes everyone would stop talking about Game of Thrones because I haven't seen the last couple of episodes yet. Tonight, I'll be joined by comedian Kitty Flanagan, science guru Lawrence Krauss and singer-songwriter Bernard Fanning. Plus, there's musical comedy from Josh Earl and a one-on-one interview with English chatty man Alan Carr. Before we start the show, I have to tell you I've had somewhat of an awakening this week. Last week on the show, we featured a group of people called Nerd Fighters. Now, as you can imagine, after talking about Nerd Fighters last week, our Facebook and Twitter page went off. We were inundated by overexcited nerds from around Australia. And the more I read about these Nerd Fighters, the more I kind of liked them. The more I connected with everything they're about. And then I realised why. I'm a massive nerd. Thank you. And do you know what? I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not so much coming out of the closet right now as creeping into the TARDIS. I'm not afraid to admit on Australian television I am a nerd. And look, the signs were always there. When I was a kid, when I played street cricket, I was the only one who calculated my own batting and bowling statistics, including strike rate and runs conceded per over. I was born in the early 70s, but I didn't lose my virginity until the late 80s. Actually, early 90s. Fine, mid-90s. When all the other teenagers were at blue light discos, I was at home learning the lines to The Princess Bride. Thank you. Yeah, I know. Yeah. That's fine now. Back then, no girl wanted to be seduced by the line, "Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die." And Mum, listen, if you're watching, this had nothing to do with the way you raised me. I'm just born this way. I'm sure right now even my school friends are looking at each other going, you know what, we always knew. And the thing is, times have changed. When I was a kid, if you were a nerd, you'd lock yourself in your bedroom and play on your computer on your own. Now, thanks to the internet, you can still do that and meet like-minded people at the same time because they're locked in their bedrooms playing on their computers with you. Revenge of the Nerds wasn't just a movie, people. It was a prophecy. I'm out, I'm proud, I am nerd, hear me roar. Thank you. I mean, roar, then wheeze a little, have a coughing fit and search desperately for my inhaler. And as a nerd, I would like to take this opportunity right now to put myself forward as the new replacement for Doctor Who. Yeah! Over there. Now we're talking. Yep. Thank you. Yes. If you don't know, the role of the Doctor is up for grabs, and I think it's about time we had an Australian Doctor Who. Yeah! Look at this. This is like some weird nerd rally. This is great. I want to see a lowered TARDIS with a spoiler on the back doing burnouts in an abandoned galaxy. You'll know the world has been saved by an Aussie Doctor when there's an army of Daleks up on bricks in the car park of a local shopping centre. And I live for the day I hear a Time Lord say the line, "That's not a sonic screwdriver. This is a sonic screwdriver." All right, let's start the show and welcome the woman who is so accident-prone she could probably cut herself with her own sharp wit. It's Hannah Gadsby. Now, you've been out this week having a go.
Oh, yes.
Took a week off last week from injury.
Yeah, out on compo. But so I thought, seeing as I hurt myself, you know, having a go at something I wouldn't normally have a go at, I decided to do something that I'm interested in.
Right.
You know, like, no, this is something I would do. And it's to do with dogs. I don't know why I did that. Because I love dogs, but I can't have one because I travel so much.
Right.
And I live in a food preparation place.
Yep.
Above it, like, I don't just sleep under a counter in the kitchen. So I really want a dog. So I went to the North Melbourne Lost Dogs home and learnt how to train the dog. At Planet Canine, they instruct classes in advanced canine agility, obstacle courses, saving kids from wells, driving, you know, that sort of thing.
Today we're going to have a go on the
First up, they introduce me to the dogs and the people who are their best friends. For now.
So let's all grab our dog treats and follow me.
This is Chili. She's my bitch for the day.
Okay. Oh,
You like movies?
My first impression of Chili is that she's strong-minded, she likes a nap, she's resistant to authority, and she looks good in tan. So I'm basically training me as a dog. So far, this dog training exercise has been a tad compromised. I blame the weather conditions and the fact that Chili is a stout tan nightmare.
We've been learning to jump over hurdles and weaving. We did some weaving and we hashed.
I don't think I'm a bad teacher. Anyone here would agree I'm doing the best with a difficult situation. Ah, dog bum. This next exercise is going to be easy.
Go, Clay.
That's right, tunnels. Dogs running through a hole. Don't get me wrong, this is 24 karat adorable, but it isn't exactly Cirque du Soleil.
Through the tunnel! Defeats the purpose of a tunnel! It's clear that I'm top dog. Hey, Chili! Oh! Chili knows that I'm the boss. Get. Oh, Chili. It's still warm.
I mean, you couldn't get any footage of her picking up mine. I might not be a natural dog whisperer, but Chili's not a natural dog listener. And I suspect our studio performance will be, you know, bit shit.
Chill.
All right, Hannah. What have you got for us in studio?
We've got an obstacle course set up for Chili here, and I'm going to take her through it. I have here what is known as a treat bag with a bit of Dolce Gabbana. I'll have to bring her over first. Watch this. Chili! Chili! Go here, Chili! Chili! Here we go, Chili!
Oh no. Whoa. Chili, look, Chili, here we go. Chili, put it back on. Put it on. Put it on.
Amazing. Oh, look, a round of applause for Hannah Gadsby and Chili. My first guest tonight is a comedian who started out on Aussie TV on Full Frontal, made a name for herself in the UK on The Sketch Show, and is now a regular on The Project. She's on tour around Australia in her new stand-up show, Hello Kitty. Please say hello to Kitty Flanagan. I'm going to start by asking, are you a nerd?
Yeah, nerd implies some sort of academic aptitude, so I would have to go with DAG.
Ooh.
Yeah, massive DAG, which I think is a really hard one to explain to Americans. In English, there's no equivalent.
And sheep.
I think we invented DAG, didn't we? Like, no one else seems to have it. I think Goober is probably the closest you can come when you're trying to explain it, but yeah, I'm a massive I didn't realise I was at the time. That's the tragic thing. I think I thought I was quite cool. And, yeah.
Really? So let me show you this photo. You felt quite cool in this photo?
Yeah. Who's that guy? And Hannah turned out the lesbian. Who knew? Good Lord. What you can't see in that photo is
your neck.
Do you know what's great about that?
No.
It's covering up the fact that I'm wearing grey corduroy knickerbockers. Knickerbockers, and I chose that outfit myself. My mum gave me carte blanche to have a birthday and have some money to go and buy an outfit, and even my mum was going, are you sure you want all grey and flannel and cord? Are you sure? Oh, but I did.
What about your formal?
Yeah, there are a few disasters. I think we actually have a photo from the future. That's me when I turned 50. And off I went to the formal. And do you know what's beautiful about this photo?
So this is you at your formal?
This is me when I'm 15.
15?
Yeah. Or in 5 years' time when I go and start working at a boutique in Noosa. I can't quite decide. But do you know what's great about that? It just says so much about parental love. My dad dropped me off at the guy who was lucky enough to take me to a formal. He dropped me off at his house, and the next day Dad said to me, that young man's eyes lit up when you walked into the room. He felt so special. And I just went, oh, Dad. Oh, Dad, if only you knew. That guy's eyes lit up. He was horrified that he was taking Nan to the formal, and that's clearly why he was caught later under the head nun's table getting off with someone else and was evicted for it. I don't blame him.
See, you and I would have got along perfectly at high school.
No, I think you would have been under the head nun's table getting off with someone else. Most boys were.
Kitty and I performed in Paris together, and you and I were the only people on the bill. And basically, the Australian ambassador turned up one night to the show and watched the show while his driver stayed outside. And then afterwards, we were both invited to the Australian embassy in Paris for drinks before the next night's show.
Is that what happened? I didn't realise it. Forever I've been wondering, why did we get invited to the ambassador place? I didn't realise he'd come to the show.
You talked to him for half an hour after. You were the reason we got the invite. Bill, the Australian ambassador.
I felt like he made the invitation as a sort of a gesture that you do to other Australians, and that he was new to the ambassadorship. It was kind of weird, because when we got there, there was no one else there. Didn't we talk to the chef all night?
It was you and I and the ambassador and the chef. And it was like the Australian embassy.
Chef? Why was the chef?
This sounds dodgy.
The chef was brought out to make up numbers. I mean, it sounds like
really
a
dodgy.
party, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
And this is my chef.
It was basically like the 7th floor of this building that overlooked the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, amazing view. That's what I remember.
Yeah, because we're both dags, we both turned up in our show gear. So I was like in jeans and runners and a T-shirt, and you were pretty much the same.
Yeah.
And this poor ambassador was going, oh, God, what have I done?
I think there probably was a party going on somewhere else in another room, and he just went, oh, God, the two in jeans and T-shirts. Just bring out the chef, we'll tell that's all there is.
Now, in your latest stand-up show, you talked about becoming a cat lady.
Yeah, I just don't like the cliche of being a crazy cat lady. But I am the cliche as the crazy cat lady. But because I didn't want to be that cliche, I thought, you know what, we'll stop this. Just bring another animal into the mix. So I got a dog, so now I'm just mad dog woman. It hasn't saved me anything.
So here's the thing, I know you are scared of becoming a cat lady.
Yeah.
There are some people in the audience tonight, members of the Australian Cat Ladies Association.
Oh, I so want to be a member.
I
already am.
The 3 ladies down the front over there.
Oh, gee, you couldn't have picked that, could you? I wish you'd actually given me a go and said, pick who you think it is, because I'm pretty sure I would have gone over there.
I definitely would have gone cat boob.
Oh, nice. Kitty on a titty. Nice. And I want to touch it. Kitty on That's now too much. Sorry.
You guys have brought something along very special for Kitty tonight.
Absolutely.
What is that?
So for our members, we make very special Australian Cat Lady certificates.
Is that glitter?
And you'll notice that we've got our logo We've also got some illustrations of some cats that you may know from the internet.
Oh.
And we personalised one for you, Kitty, and one for you, Adam.
Oh, wow. Harley, would you mind bringing them over, please?
No glitter for me.
I'll add your name to mine.
Thank you so much.
Oh, that is great.
Awesome.
Thank you.
We feel like we've left out Hannah. We're really sorry about that, but we would like to let you know that as a lesbian, you do actually have an automatic lifetime membership.
I'm okay with it.
It should also be pointed out you do actually do a lot of work with a group called Delta Dogs.
Yeah.
Which is actually quite serious work.
I know, I've just been named ambassador. So I'm going to be having some really kooky parties with 2 people at my house.
And a chef.
And a dog. Here's my chef and a dog, and I'm the ambassador. Let's party.
So what's Delta Dogs?
Delta Dogs is a society that, they're a charity organisation. They have a couple of programs. They run therapy dogs, which is what myself and my own dog are training to be, where you go into hospitals and aged care facilities with your dog. My dog has passed. I'm still in training. And they also do some great programs in schools. They have the Delta Dog Safe, which we're going to get a recording of Hannah's opening and show that as a way not to interact with dogs. Just teaching kids how to be safe with dogs, because a lot of kids don't know that you should. A lot of adults don't know either.
What did I do wrong?
You maybe shouldn't hold a dog in a headlock. This is the dog we use in the Dog Safe program.
Oh.
I know. Now, Hannah.
Come here.
And so we use this dog so that any kids in the school who might be frightened of dogs, they can actually, work with this dog without actually being scared of it. It's a 30-minute lesson, and it's actually in Tasmania. Is a government-sponsored program, which is fantastic.
Oh wow, that's awesome!
That's great. You should have learned this at school.
I should have.
So that's
awesome.
Delta
Can
the
I
dog.
take that home
That's for Bunny.
For my little one. It's actually technically taller than her.
And they do another fantastic program with real dogs, which is called Canine Classroom Canines. This one makes me cry. Is where they take a real dog into the classroom, and kids who are struggling with reading get to read to the dog, and because dogs are known to... I know, it's really sweet. Because dogs are known to lower the blood pressure and reduce anxiety and stress, kids often enjoy reading to the dog. They're not tense about it, and they enjoy doing it because they look forward to reading now because the dog's coming in and they read to the dog. So
And the dog doesn't correct them.
The dog doesn't correct them. That's absolutely right.
I think we do have a picture of you with your dog that does prove that owners and dogs...
I know, people stop me in the park all the time and go, "You look so much like your dog," and I go, "Shut, yeah, right, yeah."
And we also have a photo of your cat with a wig on it that you seem to have placed on it for some reason. Is there any reason your cat is incognito?
He loves me, really.
Like, when it sneaks up on birds, does it really like to put on a disguise? Ladies and gentlemen, would you please thank Kitty Flanagan? My next guest tonight is an American scientist who has been described as the Woody Allen of physics. He's here to tell us everything you ever wanted to know about space but were too afraid to ask. Please welcome Lawrence Krauss.
That's great.
I will ask this question that I've asked to everyone. Were you a nerd?
No, I've always been a hunk, actually. I was a hunk, though, that couldn't meet women. That was the problem. In fact, I was just thinking, I had a different prom experience than you. I went with my French teacher.
Wow, you win.
Do you know what? There are so many things in your book, A Universe from Nothing, that I want to ask about, but right now, I only care about the prom and the French teacher.
It'll be in my next book. It's okay.
Look, I want to start with a photo of you, and then I would like you to explain it. This is you nude.
It's true.
Painted as...
As a Borg, yes. That was a body painting I did in London. It took about 12 hours to get that done. And we had to... It hasn't been touched up except for the shadow has been artificially increased.
So this is you painted as a member of the Borg from Star Trek.
Yeah, from Star Trek. It was. There's a world's famous body painter who wanted to do that, and I thought it would be an interesting experience until I discovered I had to shave my body, which was the least fun part of the whole thing.
You had to shave your body?
Yeah. If I'd known about that, I wouldn't have done it. I mean, I felt like a little boy afterwards. I mean, it was really weird. It was really.
But can I ask, did it look bigger?
It looked ridiculous.
Look, as they say in science, everything's relative.
You know, I wanted to see. That's right, exactly.
And now this also had to do with the fact that the book that really broke you, or it certainly was your biggest book at first, was The Physics of Star Trek.
Yeah.
In which you kind of explained the science of Star Trek and how, feasible all of those inventions are. How did that idea come about?
Well, it began as a joke, actually. My editor at the time in New York and I were talking about my next book, and her daughter was a Trekker, and he said, "Why don't you do the physics of Star Trek?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." And I taught at Yale University, which was nearby, and I was driving up the train, and then I began to think, gee, how would you make a transporter? And I began to think of all the neat things you could do and how you could seduce people to... I mean, that's the point. People are intimidated by science. But you talk about warp drive or time travel, people get fascinated. So it was a hook to talk about the real universe, because the real universe is actually a lot more interesting than the universe of Star Trek. But it was a way to get people in a soft, gentle way. And have some fun, also.
And then demonstrate. You also demonstrated how warp drive could actually take place.
Yeah, well, so it turns out some of the more fantastical things of Star Trek, like warp drive and time travel, aren't really impossible. Well, we don't know they're impossible. For example, Einstein, had he been around, would have called it warp drive. It turns out that Einstein showed that space and time are actually dynamical. They can curve and bend and stretch in the presence of matter. And that means if you wanted to go to the nearest star, say Alpha Centauri, which is 4 light years away, if you wanted to take a rocket, it would take about 100,000 years. Say you don't have 100,000 years.
Yeah.
You just go up, you get a rocket, you go in orbit around the Earth, and you turn off the engines, and then you just arrange for the space between you and the nearest star to catastrophically collapse in 1 second, and the space between you and the Earth to catastrophically expand, and you're there, you see. In fact, I brought a warp drive, actually. It's a little bit of a warp drive. I don't know if we have it.
Harley has it. Harley, could you bring over
It's not very fancy, but given the resources of ABC, it was really...
I think the cat ladies made it.
Yeah, well... I'm not sure, actually, speaking of...
Thank you, Harley.
You can make a warp drive...
That's it. Then I'm just going to hand...
That's kind of all
That's all
you're
you're doing.
No lines?
No, just that.
Weird shit?
Yeah.
It's not that weird, actually, but you just take a normal... You take... You could take a normal household item that you might have. You got to make sure it's
not normal in my house.
Yeah. You got exactly. You're right, in fact. You got to make sure it's not lubricated. And what I've done here, just to show that this works, you see, we have stars here, and we have a wonderful model of the USS Enterprise, and we got another star system here near the receptacle end, and we've taped the Enterprise to the space. So I want to show you how the Enterprise can move towards these stars and away from these stars without ever moving at all with respect to its local system. I've drawn the sun and the moon and everything else here so you can see it. So you want to see the... Here, we'll just do it with you. Here we go. It's as close as it's going to get. Okay,
Yeah,
there we go.
You're right.
Now you see, I just squeezed it, and you see how this end blew up. So these stars moved away from the Enterprise. This moved closer, but the Enterprise was taped. So it basically stayed in one spot, and space moved around it. And as ridiculous as it may sound, actually mathematically, this is what may be possible given the laws of physics in the three-dimensional universe.
My belt does that when I bend over.
Now, look, I do want to ask you something else. I was looking at your Twitter feed over the weekend, and one tweet of yours that I want to ask you about. It said this, and I quote...
Yeah. Hold this. Thank you.
Yeah. Next week on Hannah Has a Go. Okay, there is a tweet that I have to ask you about, and it was this. This is... you just said, had a possible breakthrough thinking about dark energy. The numbers all worked out, but when it seems too good to be true, it usually is. So my first question is, what is dark energy?
Dark energy is probably the biggest mystery in science today. It's amazing that the expansion of the universe is expanding, as we've known for about 80 years. But what's really surprising is that expansion is speeding up, not slowing down. And in fact, that was discovered by some people, including someone from Australia, a good friend of mine, Brian Schmidt, who won the Nobel Prize in physics for that discovery.
Schmitty.
Yeah, you got Schmitty, exactly.
And you say that. We actually had him on the show last year, yeah.
Well, there you go.
I met his chef.
In any case, so we're dominated by this kind of cosmic anti-gravity. Anyone who's been to high school physics knows that gravity sucks. It never blows. But the universe, the universe actually is blowing. It's actually expanding faster and faster and faster. And the only way that can happen in general relativity is if empty space. That means empty space. You get rid of all the particles and the radiation, so there's nothing there. If it weighs something, then that will cause the expansion of the universe to accelerate, a kind of cosmic anti-gravity. And we don't have the slightest idea what that dark energy is. It's the biggest mystery in science. So it's obviously something that I think about a lot. And I did have an idea the other day that may explain it. And the thing about science that most people don't realize is that most ideas don't work.
Right.
Most ideas are wrong. And if they didn't, if they worked, anyone could do it. And so when something really looks too good to be true, and it's happened so many times in my career, it's going to work, and then it doesn't. So far, the numbers have been working out, and I was actually on the plane here working on a paper, which, if it comes out tomorrow, could be a big deal. So we'll see. I'm very excited about it. Maybe right.
And so where were you when you had this breakthrough of thought?
In the bathroom, I think.
And when you say bathroom in Australia, we mean toilet.
Yeah, that's what you mean. Yeah,
really?
yeah.
Right.
Well, I think it's where I do a lot of my thinking.
Doris, I just want to check if Adam was listening. What's dark energy, Adam?
Oh, very good. I like that.
Just checking. There's a lot of nodding going on at your end.
It's because the universe is expanding, Kitty. I don't know if you remember, I had a good chat to Schmitty when he was here.
Yeah.
I just remember toilet.
A lot of dark energy there.
A lot of dark energy.
No, it's weird that most of the energy in the universe resides in empty space. It's completely changed our picture of the universe, of the past and the future. It means the future will be miserable, in fact. Actually, everything we now see, all the galaxies, all the stars, will eventually recede away from us faster than light, and the universe will become cold, dark, and empty. So that's the future. I thought that would end the laughter a little bit. There you go. So the point of this, as Hannah's now pointing out, is to enjoy it while you can.
So why have you said that we could all come from stardust?
Well, that's after the beginning of the universe. It is one of the most poetic things I know about the universe is that we are all stardust. We could have, we are. Every atom in your body, every atom in all of our bodies was once inside a star that exploded. Because in the Big Bang, the only elements that were created were hydrogen and helium and a little bit of lithium. But the stuff that's important, well, lithium may be important for some of the people. Carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, all the stuff that really makes us up, that's only made in the nuclear furnaces inside of stars. And the only way it could get into our bodies is if the stars were kind enough to explode. So there are atoms in your left hand that have come from a different star than your right hand. Every atom in your body has experienced the most violent explosion in the universe, maybe many times. I find that fascinating. And as I said at one point, forget Jesus. The stars died so you'd be born. Because it's true. You are stardust. It's poetic.
I don't know. I was told when a man loves a woman very much. Lie down together.
Well,
Okay, you say there is no God?
Well, no, look, I want to make it clear. I say there's no need for God. I would be presumptuous to say there's no God. There's just no evidence for God, and it's kind of redundant. So.
Okay, I'd like to show you a little bit of evidence for what might be God.
Uh-oh.
Bear with me.
Okay.
Over there we have a group of people called the Australian Cat Ladies. Now, their website is not australiancatladies.org, as you would imagine. It is the australianchristianlobby.org. Because they actually hijacked the Christian lobbies. They bought the domain name before the Christian lobby set it up. So if you type in australianchristianlobby.org, you get Australian Cat Lady.
I'm very proud.
So you are ACL, this is where it came about, Australian Christian Lobby, Australian Cat Ladies. Lady on the end, what's your name?
Genevieve.
Genevieve, you've injured yourself. What have you done?
I've torn my anterior cruciate ligament.
Which is?
My ACL.
I'm just saying maybe there is a vengeful God. There are also some people in the crowd tonight who are part of a group that promotes science to young people in Australia. Is that you guys over there that are nodding down the front? What's the name of your group?
We're the Young Scientists of Australia.
Excellent. There you go. And what exactly is your mission?
Our goal is to promote science to the youth of Australia.
Great. So taking it out there to the youth.
It's important because, you know, all kids are scientists. They're born scientists. They love to play with things, and we tend to beat it out of them. We make it boring when it's really fascinating. So I think it's great to get kids in science and more women in science. It's really vitally important.
Well, I took that on another step because, I mean, the youth of Australia is great, but I wasn't entirely sure how much the kids of Australia knew. So earlier today, I got a whole bunch of kids here at the ABC and asked them some science questions just to see what you're working with.
Okay.
Here's what you're up against.
Uh-oh.
How do you think the world began?
By the Big Bang. The Big Bang. By scientists.
By scientists.
By fairies. Aboriginals.
How do the planets stay up in space?
I don't know. I have no idea. Magic. Gravity.
Do you know what the word infinity means?
A really, really, really big number. I can't even say a number. Really, 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 really. I have no idea. Really, 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 really. Tons of thousands. Really, 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 really. Like, numbers never stop. Really big.
Thank you. What does the word time mean?
This is really hard.
I know, isn't it? If I had no idea what time was, if I just said to you, what's time? What would you tell me?
Like you just did.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's harder than parking. Does time ever go fast?
Yes. Only if you have fun.
Do sometimes time go quick and sometimes it goes slow?
Yes.
When do you think it goes quick?
When it's a really bad clock.
If you were in a spaceship and it was going really, 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 really fast, what do you think your face would do? Show me what your face would look like. Try and demonstrate spaceflight without punching your brother. What do you think the difference is between something and nothing?
That's tricky.
Yeah, can you point at nothing?
Yeah. No.
Where?
Oh, yes, you can.
Where?
Nowhere. And nothing is this.
What?
Like this. Like in my hands.
There's nothing in your hands?
Yeah.
Ah! If you found a planet, what would you call it?
All hail Sylvie the Emperor.
All hail Sylvie the Emperor. Who lives on the planet All Hail the Emperor Sylvie?
Me.
And anyone else?
That camera guy.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please thank Lawrence Krauss? Thank you. Perfect, thank you. Tonight's musical guest describes himself as a comedian, librarian, cake enthusiast and an ageing hipster. Thank God he's married because that is the worst eHarmony profile ever. Would you please welcome Josh Earl?
Having a baby does change your life forever, and yes, it is change for the better. Everyone will tell you that it is amazing, but there is one thing that I find irritating. It's not the sleepless nights or the constant shitting, 'cause baby poo just looks like butter chicken. Just a joke. It's not gross, don't worry. It's not the advice from all the other parents and their constant photos and their need to share. It's just that mum's on Skype every night, both in sound and sight, to see her grandchild. But when mum's on Skype, she can't do it right, so we just fight on how to Skype right. Yes, we just fight on how to Skype right. Can you see me, Josh? Can you see me? I can see you. No, you're really clear. How about now? Can you see me now? How about now, Josh? No, I'm not shouting. I'm not shouting. Maybe because you can't see me, your other senses are heightened. I don't know how Skype works. Can you see me now? How about now? No? I can't see you. No. You gotta press the button that says video. Maybe because your internet's slow. Have you used up all your downloads? Is that what? Have you used your downloads up, Mum? Well, I don't know. How do I know if I use my downloads up, Josh? I don't think I would. All I do is I Skype you and I tell my internet. father, John, have you been on this computer? Oh, well, Josh says you have. He said that's why the internet's running slow. You were on the other night. You don't lie to me. You were. I was watching Bones. You were in here for about half an hour. What were you doing in here? Well, I'll just check the history then, won't I? No, I will. I'll just check the history. Josh, what button do I press to check the history? Don't check your history when you're with me, cause I don't want to know what Dad does in his privacy. Leave that a mystery, don't include me, cause I don't want to know what Dad does when he's lonely. Privacy, do you say privacy now? Oh, Melbourne's changed you, Oh, look at my grandson, oh, he's so cute. Oh, hang on, you're frozen. You guys are frozen on your end. Hang on, can you hear me? Can you hear me? You're frozen on my end, you're frozen, alright. I'm just going to call you back on the landline then, Josh. Josh, I'm going to call you the landline. I'm going to call you the landline, Josh. The landline. I'm going to call you the landline. The landline. And this happens every single day, so I'm now going to paraphrase Flavor Flav. Don't believe in Skype. What? Don't believe in Skype. Yeah, boy, don't believe in Skype. What? Don't believe in Skype. Yeah, boy. Thanks.
If you want more details about Josh's CD or his tour dates, visit joshearl.bandcamp.com. One more time for Josh Earl. Thank you, Josh. Now, if you're a fan of British chat shows, you may have seen Alan Carr Chatty Man on ABC2. If you haven't seen it, he's kind of like the love child of Michael Parkinson and Julian Clary. I sat down with Alan Carr for a bit of a host-to-host chat. Alan Carr, hello.
Hello, love.
You well?
Yeah, good. Thanks for coming to my house.
Thanks for having us.
You're well.
It's bigger than I thought it was going to be. Now, the people watching will know you from Chatty Man, which is on ABC2 in Australia.
Yeah, lovely.
You've been to Australia. You lived in Australia for a while.
Lived in Australia, well, just 6 months. I was one of those, that comes over, those Brits that come over. And I lived in Darlinghurst.
Oh, yeah, in Sydney?
Yeah, it was an amazing time for me. And then it was, I don't think the pub's there, but gay bingo on the corner. I mean, I grew up in Northampton where there wasn't any gay bars or anything. So I go, right, I'm going to Australia. And gay bingo. I mean, absolutely, it was like 2 fat lesbians, 88, and I don't know, when does this go out? Is it quite late at night?
Yeah, okay, going.
1 and 6, never been f***ed. Oh, it was, I mean, maybe I've pushed the finger. But I mean, this, for a boy from Northampton, I'm like, what? And of course, all the prizes were like sex toys and porn and stuff. I mean, it was just amazing.
So have you performed stand-up in Australia?
Yes, on a show in Melbourne, in the same studio where they filmed The Sullivans.
Yes.
Which, of course, I was like, oh, my God, The Sullivans. But you know what I love about Melbourne? No one tells you get that wind from the Antarctic, do you? I mean, it is instant Botox. I mean, you come out your hotel, one left turn, oh, my God, help me. Bride of Wildenstein. It's so cold. Oh, I couldn't believe it. It's so freezing.
How do you find the transition from stand-up to then being an interviewer?
Well, stand-ups are naturally a bit self-indulgent, and the first few series, the producer in your ear, that man talking in your ear, Alan, it's not about you, and I would start answering the person's questions, and so, I mean, but it's a skill to hear, isn't it? You've got to listen. Yeah. But I never used to do that. I just used to talk over them, and then I did this awful thing where, like, if they told an anecdote which was, like, really crap, you know what I mean? Then I'd try and, like, trumpet. It's not the best for a chat show host, is it?
Have you ever interviewed someone you've admired for years, and you've done the interview, but secretly you just want to be friends with them, and you're hoping that they swap numbers with you afterwards?
Well, not that, but I mean, I had Bradley Cooper on, and I have a big crush on him, and it was so embarrassing because apparently I wasn't asking him any questions. I was playing with my hair and rotating on the chair like that. I was laughing at even the mundanest thing, and I wasn't even asking him, and apparently they just had to say, Alan, you're just showing yourself up.
Is there anyone that you've kept in contact with after the interview, like you've become friends with and swapped numbers and actually kept in touch with?
I did a show before a Chatty Man called The Friday Night Project, and we had Kanye West on, and I said, I'm going to California soon, and he went, you got to hook up with me, here's my email address. And he remembered when we were going, and he emailed me saying, hey, you guys in California yet? Oh, and I didn't know what to do because I was so scared I didn't reply. What do I do? What do I do? I'm so gutted now. I should have gone, but I mean, what can I do? Go to Kanye West? We've got nothing in common. But that's nice, isn't it? What a lovely thing to do. And what an arsehole of me not to like, inbox. I thought it was just something, do you want your penis to be 10% bigger or something like that? I'm like, yeah. kwest@yahoo.com. No. That's not his email. Don't email that person.
Do you think he's been sitting there going,
do you think he's still waiting at LA airport?
Well, I think maybe he's still wondering why you haven't replied.
I know people at home were thinking, you idiot. But it's just, I'm not meant to mix in those circles. Do you know what I mean? It's not really me, yeah.
But isn't Adele a good friend of yours?
Yeah, Adele, yeah.
You and she used to sit and kind of watch telly together.
Yeah, we still do. I mean, she's an ordinary girl with an extraordinary talent. I mean, she's just really down to earth, you know. And the thing is, I've never had an Oscar-winning friend before. That's another thing that don't happen. I mean, I've got someone who's won Rear of the Year and Spectacle Wearer of the Year, but never an Oscar winner. I mean, that is just ridiculous.
Have you ever had an interview that's gone wrong?
Not gone wrong, but, I don't know if you get those American stars out there who've been a bit too media trained.
Yeah.
They're just not fun.
Have you ever had a storm out?
No, but I've been told people will storm out if you met... Do you get that long list in Australia as well? Don't mention their plastic surgery, don't mention their alcoholism. It is... Like the one I gave you before I did this. Don't mention the teeth, don't mention my sexuality. No, I mean, it's just ridiculous.
So you get those lists, though, saying don't mention this?
Yeah, don't mention this. If you mention this, they will walk out. I know. And, of course, you shouldn't tell me that because then it's just in the back of my head, bad plastic surgery, bad plastic surgery, bad plastic surgery. Someone said don't look at their hair or mention their hair.
Don't look at their hair?
And so, of course, don't tell me that. Of course, they come down the stairs, I'm like that. I'm thinking, what's this hair like? The hair was fine. It's fine. I mean, I wouldn't know it was a wig. It's a great wig because it didn't look like a wig. Right. But very much, it's not like it's Elton John coming down. I mean, you go, it's a wig, who cares? But, I mean, it was like, and I was sort of like, you must have thought I was a weirdo. I was just sort of like looking at it like, is it a wig? You know, my poker face. It's awful.
Well, listen, finally then, would you like to do a storm out?
Yes, I think I'm going to do one now. F*** you. Stop.
Oh, you did good me.
Here you go.
Alan Carr Chatty Man is on ABC2 on Thursday nights. You can check it out. Ladies and gentlemen, our next guest tonight was lead singer of an Australian band that sold over 2.5 million records and clocked up 18 ARIA awards. As a solo artist, he's also won another 4 ARIA awards and hit #1 on Triple J's Hottest 100. He's back with a new album and a nationwide tour. Would you please welcome Bernard Fanning?
Thanks for having me.
Let's start with the most exciting news. Congratulations are in order. If you don't know, Triple J have been running a thing called the Hottest 100 of the last 20 years. It's basically the best songs played on Triple J in the last 20 years. Powderfinger came in 2 songs in the top 10. Yeah. It was These Days at number 8 and My Happiness at number 10.
Yeah.
How did that feel when you found all that out?
Great. It's amazing, actually, that... I mean, that's 12 years ago that record was made, Odyssey number 5.
Yeah.
And that people still have that much affection for those songs. It's incredible.
Well, we've got footage of you guys and Powderfinger, the last ever concert in Brisbane. I think it was the last ever song.
Right.
And it was
These Days.
These Days. We'll just take this in for a second. The last time you ever played that song together as a band at your last ever gig. Now, I've asked everyone else on the panel, I'm going to ask you, were you a nerd?
I don't know if I was a nerd. So, well, kind of.
And you were fascinated by the band Kiss as well, were you not?
Yeah, I loved Kiss.
Yeah.
So I loved all those I loved Bowie as well, that kind of glammy stuff I really liked.
Right. And yet you guys were kind of known for not really being
kind of the
glammy.
opposite.
Yeah. Did you ever have a moment of going...
Oh, always. I asked the makeup girls to make me Ace Frehley tonight, but it didn't work out. So.
Did you have a Kiss doll?
No. Never had any merch.
Oh, no, neither did I.
No. What did you have?
I had an Ace.
You had Ace?
I had an Ace Frehley doll.
Well, Ace turned out to be the coolest by miles, didn't he, in the end?
Good. I know, look. It's like, hey.
It's very interesting television, isn't it?
It just took me a long time to work out what you actually meant by a Kiss doll. As two nerds going, I can't get a girl, but I've got a Kiss doll. And then I'm like, the band. So that's what that look was.
Okay, so how is life post-Powderfinger? How's it treating you?
Great. I'm just kind of started working again.
Yeah.
I mean, after Powderfinger finished, my wife and I and our daughter Gabriella went to live in Spain. My wife's from Spain.
Right.
So we went to Madrid, and we were there for a year and a half. And I just had a little bit of time settling in there, and then I started writing.
Did that come from being in a new place? Did that kind of stir the senses a little bit? Were you in the bathroom when you had ideas?
It's a good place. You're alone, no one bothers you.
Yeah.
It's interesting, actually, what you were saying about that idea that with science, you guys, you kind of just bark up a tree and see how it goes, and if it doesn't work, you kind of go back down and then you bark up another tree.
It's the same
as songwriting. It's exactly
the same.
I was thinking that while you were saying it. That
creative stuff.
That is exactly what the process is for me. A lot of people rely on, I think, bolts of inspiration. And, there's these famous things in science, Newton and all that stuff, but it's very rare that it actually
Most of the time you're doing stuff that doesn't work out, and then every now and then it does?
It's just chipping away, basically.
So the trick is to change trees, because that's where I'm having a lot. I've had one tree
and hope a dog hasn't been there before you.
Right. Yeah. Did you learnt Spanish when you were in Spain?
Yeah, I did. Well, I've been learning Spanish for a while, actually. When we went back this time, I went to school for a couple of weeks, and the idea when you're learning a language is immersion, basically, and you're supposed to be kind of within the culture and the language and practice as much as you can. So I was at school for 2 weeks, and on this particular day, we'd learned the word for clown, which is payaso in Spanish. And so whenever I learned a new word and it happened to stick in my mind, I always tried to use it. And I always tried to talk to shopkeepers and people like that. Anyway, the day that I learned payaso for clown, I got in a taxi to go to the city. And strangely enough, we were in the taxi and I was talking to the cab driver and we were talking about football or something like that. And in the traffic in Madrid, it's really busy on the road. There's lots of traffic. It's crazy. And there was a guy on a unicycle. Which is so strange, right? I'm not joking. It's kind of odd to see someone on a bike in Madrid, but on a unicycle up ahead in traffic. And I thought, here's my chance, So I said to the cab driver, "Que pollazo," and just one little vowel difference, because payaso is clown, pollazo is enormous penis. So, I just said...
You're a legend.
Yeah, I just said to him, I just out of the blue said to a cab driver, "What a huge dick."
Have you have similar problems with foreign languages, do you not, Kitty Flanagan?
I had a very similar experience in Spain with Spanish, and one of the problems I always have with languages is I mumble it instead of actually talking it. And so I thought, right, I'm really going to give it some petrol this time. And we were going horse riding, and what I was supposed to say was, "Queremos montar caballos." And I really gave it some petrol, and I said, "Queremos montar caballeros." Queremos, which actually means we would like to ride some gentlemen.
What happened next?
What happened next was he looked at me kind of funny, so I helped by doing the other thing you do in a foreign language, which is where you mime it out.
And say it a little louder as well. Montana Caballo!
The album Departures is amazing. I've been listening to it. Oh, God, there's a song on it, Departures. Wow, I can't listen to it without crying.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
Okay.
it's beautiful.
Oh, thanks.
And it's written about your dad passing away, is that right?
Yeah. So just after Powderfinger finished, my dad died about 3 months after.
Yeah.
He'd been ill for a while. He had dementia, so he'd been pretty sick, so it wasn't totally unexpected. And 10 years ago, my brother died from cancer, from melanoma, when he was 42. And so anyway, I got kind of thinking about that, and it turned into a song. And it was kind of a tribute to both my dad and my brother. And talking about Toowong, which is the suburb that we grew up in.
Yeah.
And my dad grew up in. And both of them are buried in the cemetery there as well.
So when you're playing a song like that, and I only ask because my dad passed away last year, and I've been listening to that song a lot, and I like to sing in the car, and I can't get through the song without my voice breaking and starting to tear up. When you're playing a song on stage that is that personal, how do you get through that? Do you have to disconnect almost from what you're singing?
Yeah, sometimes you do, I think, but it just depends. It depends on the day. It depends on who's in the audience. Like if my mum and if my immediate family were there, for example, and my sister-in-law and my nephews and all that sort of stuff, if they're all there, then there's a difference. It's more intense. I mean, I think a lot of performers kind of go on with this artifice. A lot of singers, this lie that they mean every single word they sing. And they catch the butterfly and then they release it. and you can't possibly... I mean, for example, on a tour, I'm going on tour and we're doing 25 shows or something.
Yeah.
You can't be that focused for the entire time on every lyric. Sometimes you could be thinking about whether you left the iron on. But I'm not saying that you're kind of absent from the show, but it's just you can't be that present, emotionally present all the time. For me, that's when you're writing. It's when you're writing, and it's also, especially when you're recording, that you put all of that emotion into the performance of the song, and that you hear that on the record.
Now, the song you're playing tonight from the album is Tell Me How It Ends.
That's right.
If you'd like to make your way over to the to the band stage, set yourself up, ladies and gentlemen, Bernard Fanning. And in fact, would you please thank all our guests for tonight? Lawrence Krauss, Kitty Flanagan, Josh Earl and Alan Carr. And of course, the dog whisperer, Hannah Gadsby. Next week on the show, we'll be joined by comedian Paul McDermott, singer Ella Hooper, and one-third of the goodies, Bill Oddie. Plus, there's a one-on-one interview with model and actress Jerry Hall. We'd like to leave you tonight with Bernard Fanning's new single. This is Tell Me How It Ends from the album Departures. Thanks for watching Adam Hills tonight. See you next week.
you will